Tense, kick out non-students, and eliminate hate speech.
Fox's Steve Harrigan at Columbia University. About 20 protesters at the University of Texas campus in Austin have been arrested after the Texas Department of Public Safety was sent to campus at the request of Governor Greg Abbott. President Biden has signed a bill that gives nearly $100 billion in foreign aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, passed by the Senate last night.
Gives vital support to America's partners, and so they can defend themselves against threats to their sovereignty and to the lives and freedom of their citizens. And it's an investment in our own security.
The president said air defense will be sent to Ukraine right away. The bill did not include a larger border security agreement brokered by a bipartisan group of senators, which the president says he still wants to see passed. Russia has vetoed a UN resolution sponsored by the U.S. and Japan, calling on all nations to prevent a dangerous nuclear arms race in outer space. The resolution would have called on all countries to not develop or deploy nuclear arms or other weapons of mass destruction in space. America is listening to Fox News.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
They're no longer teaching. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending this hour. A former math teacher at Center Grove High School has now been charged with child seduction. John Herrick reports.
The probable cause affidavit was filed this week in the case of Drew Garrison. Police say a student told them that on one occasion, Garrison and her met up in a parking lot behind the Student Activity Center in late January to engage in sexual activity. Garrison resigned and was arrested in February. Court documents say in some of the text messages he sent to the girl, he said, "Your kiss is amazing, and I will definitely have my hands on your thighs, though." John Herbeck, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
An Indigo bus in the capital city caught on fire Wednesday. Police have arrested someone for arson. It happened just after 7 in the morning in the near north side. A 45-year-old is who was arrested on that preliminary charge of arson. 2 people were sent to the hospital. The Indianapolis Fire Department says it's all still being investigated, but the bus did not malfunction. A woman called 911 to complain about the quality of her meth. Wes Woodward reports.
34-year-old Sarah Harris told police the meth she used made her feel as if she was about to have a heart attack. Police then decided to visit her Bedford home for a wellness check. While there, Harris reportedly handed over a small baggie to police containing a crystal-like substance that later tested positive for meth. Harris was arrested and taken to the Lawrence County Jail, charged with possession of methamphetamine, which is a level 6 felony. Wes Woodward, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Wednesday evening will include clear skies and temperatures getting close to freezing, but not quite there. We're likely in the mid to upper 30s by the morning hours as we move towards Thursday. A mostly sunny day with temperatures in the 60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Junior Suiters for 93 WIBC.
Terry Stacy here. Honey Baked Ham isn't just for the holidays. Stop in for lunch and choose from handcrafted sandwiches, salads, soups, and more. Or take home a heat and serve family meal that comes with a home-style main dish, sides, and rolls. Perfect for a busy weekend night and better than fast food. Have a special event this spring? Let Honey Baked cater with sandwich trays or a VIP buffet with all the extras. Honey Baked on West 96th Street in Indy or Greyhound Pass in Carmel makes it easy to serve something special any day of the year.
BoerRemodeling.com, serving Central Indiana for 23 years. These are your kitchen and bathroom remodeling specialists. When you're ready to make the change, they're ready for you. It's a new year, so it's time to get it done. That kitchen, that heart of the home, the bathroom, a place where you can actually relax and build instant equity in your home. 317-852-5546 or online at Boer, BOOHER, BoerRemodeling.com.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Now through Monday, it's our once-in-a-lifetime sale. You thought the eclipse was big? This sale is bigger. Every mattress by Indiana-made Sealy. All outdoor furniture by Berlin Gardens and Pollywood. Every sectional, sofa, recliner by Indiana-made Smith Brothers and Lazy Boy is on sale now through Monday. Low price guarantee only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
At First Financial Bank, we have 4.5% APY on money market accounts and high rates on CDs. It's easy. Just stop into your local First Financial Bank to open your account, and we'll do the rest. What are you waiting for? Start growing your money today. APY equals annual percentage yield. $25,000 minimum deposit required for money market. Offer ends June 1st, 2024. Terms and conditions apply. Visit bank@first.com for details.
First!
Tony Katz.
It's Kendall and Casey.
The Amber and Nigel show. All right, well, when does your show start? Do we know? I feel like I've been promoting this for 9 years now.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Good evening and welcome to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC, live this evening from Washington, D.C. There has been a lot of stuff going on in the country, and you know that when things are going a little bit rough, the most reassuring thing you can experience are calming words from a trusted leader, someone out there who really gets your attention and with a calm and soothing voice lets you know that it's all going to be okay. Perhaps they say something time-tested that is going to last for quite a while in the public discourse, when your short-term memory, whatever it is. In the worst news that I can deliver you here on the air at 93 WIBC in the live streams over at Twitter and YouTube, I must regret to inform you that President Biden is not the guy that you can go to seek those words of understanding in a time of serious unrest. Now, some of you aren't surprised because, you trust President Biden as much as you would trust tap water from Flint, Michigan. Perhaps as much as you would trust the word of someone in a three-letter agency. President Biden is not exactly your go-to guy for peace and comfort. And that's okay, because right now he's actually doing more to endorse his predecessor than anything else. And by the way that I'm talking about this, today on the trail, President Biden made the strange decision to read the teleprompter. And by read the teleprompter, I don't mean that he read the script of the points that he was supposed to discuss. I mean that he read the words in parentheses. For any of you who have ever done any kind of acting, and I'm not talking like grand Hollywood scale acting, I'm talking like community theater, local high school acting stuff, which, by the way, we'll be getting to some disturbing high school acting stuff later in the show. But if you've ever read a script, you'll know that there are these really cool curved lines, and they're called parentheses. Now, parentheses are really neat punctuation because what they do is they tell you something that perhaps you should take note of, but not say out loud. That's kind of a cool thing. So President Biden, when reading today, decided to say 4 more years and then read the in parentheses piece of information that told him to pause, because President Biden was supposed to say 4 more years in relation to what he hopes would be his next term in office. Quite honestly, it really should be a prayer for just 4 more years on this earth, given his health conditions. He was supposed to say 4 more years. And then when he paused, the crowd was supposed to, almost like the applause sign back in Hollywood, they were supposed to start chanting 4 more years because it's pre-planned and no one is actually excited about a second Biden term in office. So President Biden gets up in front of the nation and he says, 4 more years, pause. This is literally a sketch from Friends. Actually a sketch from the sitcom Friends in the 1990s, in which Joey Tribbiani, who is known on the show for being a terrible actor, says, "And what did you think I would do about that long pause?" And it was a joke because everyone knows that you're not supposed to say the emotional and stage directions while you're reading your lines. So when the people in the Democrat Party try so very desperately to convince you that Biden may be old, because now they can't avoid the fact that the dude is decrepit. He may be old, but, hey, I'd rather have somebody old than Donald Trump. It's very disquieting to the American public to see the unrest that is now not only happening at the southern border, not only happening around the world with our allies and with the march of the enemies of the United States, but now the unrest that is happening on U.S. college campuses all over the country. For the president of the United States, in contrast, to not even be able to read the teleprompter. We made this point a couple of weeks ago here on the show. President Biden not being able to speak extemporaneously is a problem because you're the leader of the free world. When you are behind closed doors with the Sheikh Ahmad Zarif from Qatar or President Vladimir Putin of Russia, and it's just you and Putin and his translator, it is kind of helpful to be able to think on your feet and to be quick on your feet, at least verbally, because that is where the sausage is made. You need to be able to negotiate on behalf of the United States. You need to be able to hold your ground. You need to be able to remember key events. And President Biden is unable to do that. So to prop him up through the election, because Kamala Harris, who we'll be talking about in a second, is even more unelectable somehow than Joe Biden, that President Biden has been put onto the script. So whenever he has an opportunity to have these big, huge, massive clearinghouse size check cards that he's reading from, size 872 font, you'd have to build a second eye doctor to fit the glasses thing in for the letters that he would be reading off of that chart. And President Biden can't even read the teleprompter coherently. Oh, dear God. And not only this, he also went on the record today saying, how many times does Trump have to prove that we can't be trusted? His words. So Biden is now going around unenthusiastically, or should I say unwittingly, endorsing Trump. It's incredible. And many people online are saying, oh, it's a Freudian slip. Biden knows the Democrats can't be trusted. No, it's not a Freudian slip. Biden doesn't even know how to pronounce Freud, or probably thinks he's the president of Sweden, given the amount of times he's referenced dead European leaders as presidents of completely different countries, mixed up the presidents of Egypt and Mexico, and so on and so forth. And you say, well, what's next behind the man who's almost about to fall over? Well, that would be President Harris and her ragtag team of DEI hires. So according to interesting sources today, and I am getting this from Real Clear Politics investigator and White House correspondent Susan Crabtree. An armed U.S. Secret Service agent assigned to Vice President Kamala Harris' protective detail today fought with other Secret Service agents Monday morning on what has to be one of the most incredible events in recent history. This incident occurred at Andrews Air Force Base shortly before Harris arrived. And why did this occur? Why was there one Secret Service agent pitted against other Secret Service agents having a fist fight? Because, again, according to sources with Real Clear Politics, Susan Crabtree, the DEI hire, there are concerns within the Secret Service community that there might be too many white male Secret Service agents, and the hiring process may not have been equitable enough. We do not know about the agent's well-being. We have no idea. All we know is that there were concerns of strange behavior from Secret Service agents, and that in the hiring process for her detail, apparently, DEI was taken heavily into account. What does that mean? That means this. Kamala Harris is so obsessed with the color and the sexuality of her Secret Service agents that it appears that they overlooked mental stability for the Secret Service agent protecting the Vice President of the United States of America. Oh my God. I mean, really, if any of this comes to light, that President Biden and Vice President Harris have meddled in the color quota and the LGBTQ plus 2IA whatever quota of their own Secret Service agents, the clown show at this point has moved well beyond the local service. This is full on Barnum and Bailey's in 1895 level circus stuff. This is Dumbo the elephant on a beach ball level circus nonsense. And you are along for the ride. Well, I promised you some more chaos, and my God, the anti-Semitic protests continue around the country, and we have a tale of the blue state reaction over at Columbia and how Governor Greg Abbott of Texas is handling things down at UT Austin. Stick around. You're not going to want to miss it. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast, live from Washington, D.C. on 93 WIBC.
Like magic, it appears in the sky. A rainbow. somewhere over that rainbow lurks not bluebirds or dreams. Hidden behind that beauty is trouble.
Get a cone tornado right there.
Don't be fooled.
Tornado on the ground! Confirmed tornado on the ground! Confirmed tornadoes. Oh my gosh, look at it. Oh my gosh.
This spring, depend on your severe weather station.
Baseball size hail.
93 WIBC.
A sleep divorce happens when bed partners sleep in different rooms because one of them has a snoring problem. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, but it is unfortunate, especially when there are simple, non-surgical solutions that can put snoring problems to bed for good. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where our exclusive focus is the nose and throat, which is exactly where your snoring problem is coming from. If 20 years ago you told me I'd be helping relationships flourish again, I'd have laughed. But in many cases, that is the case. Because helping your bed partner stop snoring so the two of you can get back to sleeping together again can do just that.
Go to adventknows.com today to schedule your appointment and learn more about our effective breathing triangle solutions. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here for Hope Plumbing. Spring has sprung and summer is right around the corner, which means family and friends and food galore. Do you know if your garbage disposal is ready for all that fun ahead? During the month of April, my friends at Hope Plumbing are offering a $100 off an upgraded garbage disposal. That's right, upgrade your current garbage disposal and get $100 off. Call Hope Plumbing or visit them online at hopeplumbing.com or give them a call at 641-HOPE and get ahead of the summer fun.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg. This is your premier gun store. Premier Arms has the experience and know-how to help the new gun buyer and the most experienced marksman. They've been in business for over 20 years and have a friendly, knowledgeable staff that wants to help you, not talk down to you. Premier Arms in Brownsburg is family-friendly, so bring the kids. All ages are welcome. Everyone can find what they're looking for at Premier Arms in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street. Online at premierarms.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. premierarms.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Don't be impressed when you hear someone settle their case for what may seem like lots of money. $500,000 seems like lots of money until you learn they lost both legs, had a brain injury, or were paralyzed and can never work again. All law firms are not the same. To see what your case may be worth, go to forthepeople.com and look at our verdicts and settlements for cases just like yours. Look before you leave. Hire the right lawyer. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Indiana Pathways for Aging helps Hoosier Medicaid members age 60 and over get support at no additional cost to live life their way.
Mom's Parkinson's is progressing, and Pathways provides in-home support so she can be with family every day.
Pathways coordinates Medicaid and Medicare services. I'm getting help with meals, personal care, and transportation.
One day, I might choose a nursing home, but today, I have options with Pathways.
Eligible members can select a plan now. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Latrell spent more than 8 years in foster care. His world changed when he was adopted at 15 with help from the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
I think about how much we love him, and I wish we could have had him for his entire childhood.
The foundation is changing the lives of thousands of teens waiting in foster care. You can help. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealer in Hendricks County.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Just a curbside prophet.
Hey, welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC. That's 93.1 FM out of Indianapolis. Tonight, live in Washington, D.C. Well, I've got to be honest with you. I did not have a massive left-wing protest at universities on my bingo card for an election year, but that is certainly where we are. And never has the red state, blue state dichotomy been more clear, not with immigration and the border, which is what I was expecting, kind of the dichotomy to be drawn from blue versus red state this year, but in how Republican governors versus Democrat governors are addressing extreme protests and riots, in some cases that are developing on several university campuses. So, very first, very easy background. Why are people protesting at universities? So Israel is a nation. Israel is a nation that is filled with, you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, Jews. And it just so happens that there are people on universities that are part of this red, Marxist, green, fundamentalist, and radical jihadist Muslim groups, most closely aligned with the Shia sect of Islam. And the Brown Alliance, this would be the kind of weird fascist group that is very pro-speech policing that have united to cause a lot of trouble in saying that basically the United States is really super duper evil and Israel is super duper evil and Palestine is this nation that has always been here forever, even though it hasn't been. And there's this massive genocide of, oh my God, hundreds of thousands are dying, even though there haven't been. And oh, it's totally unprovoked, even though it absolutely was provoked, and all of this other nonsense. And so, like all of the other university protests for the last 2 decades, there have been masses of students who have taken to the streets of their campuses complaining that, oh, the United States is terrible and these Jews are actually controlling everything. The Jews, woo! And that it's actually Israel who's wiping the entire world clean and, oh, wow. And it's just so super duper awful, terrible, whatever. And the issue, as is usually the case whenever there is a group that is protesting Israel, is that it very quickly moves away from criticizing the actions of Israel to just blatantly yelling about how you're going to kill Jews. Now, how do I know that? How can I make such an accusation here on the public airwaves that these individuals so often go after the Jews? Well, 2 reasons. Number one, because as repeated huge amounts of footage at Columbia University shows, they are targeting Jews and preventing them from entering. So I'm not talking about students who are carrying a large Israeli flag. I mean students who are just, wearing a yarmulke, like a religious hat that Jewish men who are Orthodox Jews wear. There are protesters at Columbia who are surrounding them and yelling at them and keeping them from entering certain buildings that they have classes in or areas that they want to go into that they have paid for the access to go into via human chain, like they're playing Red Rover. And of course, standing in front of groups of students who are Jewish and holding up signs basically asking that the next Palestinian Gazan Hamas rocket hit them. So, that would be anti-Semitic. It's not anti-Semitic to say, hey, I don't think that the United States should be giving money to Israel or any other nation. That is an isolationist foreign policy perspective. And that is a right of an American to hold. Absolutely. And you're more than welcome to criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. However, when you do anti-Semitic things in tandem with your anti-Israeli stance, the anti-Israeli has nothing to do with it. And it's actually just anti-Semitism. That's just the way that works. If I don't like a business, let's say that's owned by a black individual, because the food is terrible, that's not a bad thing. But if when I am describing the owner of the business of the food that is terrible, I start using a lot of racial slurs, guess what, guys? It's probably not because the food is terrible, but probably because of a racist undertone. If you're using anti-Semitic terms to describe Israel, guess what? It's not about Israel. That's just how that works. That's very basic logic. If you go to an organization that is owned by an Asian individual and you don't like the business, that's fine. But when describing the business, if you start using a bunch of anti-Asian slurs, guess what? That's racism. This is very, very, very simple stuff. It doesn't exactly take a degree from Columbia University. Oh, so Columbia University, a lot of anti-Semitism, a lot of crazy nonsense and whatnot. And the president of the university, who is an insane leftist, 2 weeks after 9/11, decided to get on in front of the group and basically say, well, terrorism isn't because, people do really bad things. It's actually because, and then she starts making a bunch of excuses. And this mess at Columbia should have been met with the National Guard. Because I will remind you that the last time there were racial riots on college campuses that were banning or barring students of a certain ethnic group or demographic from existing on that university campus, President Eisenhower sent in the National Guard and stopped that post haste. You think Kathy Hochul's going to do that? Absolutely not. Do these protests violate civil rights law? Absolutely. However, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, who every day is showing himself to be a better governor, sent in state troopers from Houston into the University of Texas, Austin campus today, when a similar anti-Jewish protest was going on, and the state troopers started hauling off students. Now, this is where everyone online started freaking out and going, no, it's free speech. You're allowed to shout really mean and terrible things. And that's true. You are absolutely allowed to shout really mean and terrible things. If you want to go into the public space and you want to shout racial slurs as loud as you can, there is an element of harassment and that you can't pollute the public space with garbage, just in the same way that I can't go onto any old street corner that I want and like graphically depict some kind of sexual act, because again, there's a common decency in public that you have to abide by. The reason that the state troopers from Texas are hauling off individuals to jail is not because they're standing there and they're shouting they don't like Israel. I'm sorry, that's just not happening. The reason that Governor Abbott has ordered the state troopers into the University of Texas, Austin, to haul off some of these protesters is because a lot of these protesters are barring Jewish students from entering certain areas, and they are getting kind of violent. They are blocking certain areas of the campus from access, and they are issuing violent threats. See, it's the issuing the violent threat parts that's kind of where you draw the line. I can stand next to you in public, and I can say very loudly, I don't like this person. I don't like this person at all. If I stand next to you in public and I say, I am going to beat this person to death, or I am going to cut the head off of this person, guess what? That is a violent threat. You're not allowed to do that. That's not covered under the First Amendment. Very common stuff, guys. I'm so sorry. I absolutely do not have a shred of sympathy for any of these left-wing nutjob protesters, most of whom come from very wealthy families. And the only reason they are involved in these protests is because this is the latest prop for them. It's the latest prop. I'm sorry. A lot of these Marxist goobers at universities come from rich families, and they have absolutely nothing to do with their lives. Like a lot of their parents, and I'm talking about the suburban progressive Karens that that I cannot stand. A lot of these goobers have no church, have no community they're involved in. They have no kind of personal sacrifice that they make in order to better their community. And so in order to not be existentially depressed and feel as though they have nothing to contribute to this world and their life is meaningless, they take up some kind of cause. I went over this on Hammer and Nigel today. Either they talk about a while ago, back in the 2000s, it was the whole Hispanic multiculturalism thing. Any kind of restrictions on immigration is terrible because how could these white people be so mean to Hispanic people? That was the cause then. Then it was the No Child Left Behind thing, and that apparently Republicans were really against people who had some type of learning disabilities. And then it was the racism thing. I can't believe Republicans are so racist towards black people, even though Republicans were the ones that, kind of fought for the freedom from slavery in the Civil War. Then after the DEI and critical race theory thing was over, then it was the LGBTQ plus 2IA nonsense. And then it was from just the gay and lesbian stuff. Then it was the transgender stuff. And now it's the, hatred of Israel and the Jews and all that other stuff. And in a couple of months, it'll be something else. Because all of this nonsense, paper-thin protest garbage just comes from the same kind of self-dissatisfaction that these individuals are known for. Nothing else to do, nothing of value to give. And so what you end up getting in return is a lot of useless nonsense pitchfork waving, because these goobers have bought into the theory that the only reason in life that they are unhappy is because there is some nameless, faceless, shadow individual, whether it's a straight white man or it's the Jews. Ooh. And that's what's destroying everything. That's why they don't feel happy. I mean, sure, they haven't gone outside since before the protest at all. And sure, all they do all day is binge watch whatever shows it is and do lots of drugs and drink and sit depressed inside dark holes. But I mean, I'm sure it can't be that. Actually, it's because there's some secret shadow cabal of Freemason, Illuminati, straight white men, the Jews, Catholics. Ooh. And then you wonder why the suicide rate's so high in that community. Gee, I wonder why. Well, up next, we're going to be talking about a high school event in Virginia that is not going over so well. And yeah, I'm sure you're going to be able to guess why. It is the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC, live from Washington, D.C.
The laundry room. For as long as I can remember, this was the only place to get a good Wi-Fi connection. Until we got Xfinity. Now we have Wi-Fi all over the house. So you're probably wondering why I'm still hanging out in here, when I could be happily streaming in the attic, basement, or literally any other room. Well, the truth is, it's warm in here. And I like the smell of dryer sheets.
Get out of here, weirdo.
Hey, close the door. You're letting cool air in.
That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi with Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get started with 300 megabit internet for $35 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And get free Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
The great vehicles are at Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield, and they are your EV headquarters. You should shop the Moore selection. Head to Andy Moore Ford or AndyMooreFord.com. Shop the EV models like the Mustang Mach-E, which I've driven, the E-Transit, the F-150 Lightning, which is incredible. All in stock with more arriving daily. Check out More Power. The Ford Mustang Mach-E combines the iconic Mustang heritage with the benefits of an electric vehicle. Not just efficient, incredibly stylish, it's an exhilarating driving experience. But you need more room, more versatility out of your vehicle. The all-electric F-150 Lightning has you covered with seating for up to 5, intelligent backup power, and onboard power for all your tools and gear. This is the all-electric truck that is built for it all. Visit my friends down at Andy Moore Ford, and they'll help make the switch to an EV easier than ever. Check them out on Main Street in Plainfield or online at Andy Moore Ford, M-O-H-R. Shop anytime online, AndyMooreFord.com.
Hey, it's Amber Nigel, and look, if you're over 60 and you've not filed for Social Security, there's some stats you might want to know about.
Did you know that 96% of Americans forfeit an average of $111,000 in Social Security income?
Wow, and it's because they file for their benefits at the wrong time. Now, you could learn how you could wring every nickel out of the benefits with a free customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery. He's your retirement guy right here in Indy.
The free analysis makes filing for Social Security as easy as it can be, and it could help ensure you get the last penny out of the benefits that are rightfully yours.
So if you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement and you've not filed for Social Security, call now, 317-648-5120. That's 648-5120. Schedule your free analysis by calling Bill Demery at 648-5120. And tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Let Bill Estes put you behind the wheel of the powerhouse brands that define American toughness. Ford, Chevy, Ram, and GMC.
Get in on Ram Truck Month with exclusive deals. Right now, get $2,500 retail consumer cash on most new 2024 Ram 1500s.
Unleash the power of the road with Bill Estes Trucks. Find the location near you and see their inventory at BillEstesTrucks.com.
TRX models excluded from all offers. See dealer for complete details. Take retail delivery by April 30th, 2024.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $139 plus $75 off air duct cleaning too. Call 317-388-5141, online at zeroresindy.com.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC, live this evening from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and just a few miles away from this beautiful, breezy spring day here in the lovely carjacking capital of North America now is a school. The school is Fairfax County Public Schools. It's in Virginia, northeastern Virginia. And it serves basically all of the students just on the other side of the Potomac, 180,000 students just thereabouts. And a couple of days ago, there was advertising that was released because this school is going to put on a musical production of Kinky Boots, the amazing drag queen story of a down-and-out factory worker who partners with a local drag queen named Lola. And then all of the factory workers dress in drag and put on a show. And then they save the factory, you know, just like the stories that your mom used to read to you at night. And so the school is putting on this drag musical. And it's in partnership with the school corporations like Pride Club, because, you know, of course it is. Because there are individuals in the Pride community, the LGBTQ2IA plus 765309 Jenny Call Me community, in which there is, I don't know, it's the kind of weird idea that men who dress in lingerie are their own little pride category, but then will simultaneously claim that like dressing in drag is normal and like all throughout human history is entertainment for the troops. Like there was guys dressing in like drag and stuff. And I'm confused because like, wait a minute, is it an expression of like gender fluidity and like alternative sexuality, or is it just a guy putting on a dress? You can't have both. Anywho though, the idea of drag is that there's a dude who puts on like lingerie. It's not just like, you know, Little House on the Prairie dude puts on a dress. It's always very sexual clothing. And then often really big fake boobs. And then they go and they dance and they act like this kind of weird depiction of, again, a very sexualized like cabaret singer. And that's been drag forever. It's a form of adult entertainment. Some people really like it. I think it's kind of creepy. I really don't want to look at a dude's fake breasts, but you know, look, you're an adult. You want to go look at that. That's fine. A lot of parents in Fairfax, though, have an issue with the school putting on this musical with students. And it's kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe there are some people out there who think that what minors need to do is dress up in lingerie and act like drag queens in front of other students now and staff. Now, I find that to be creepy and predatorial. Personally, I kind of think that is disgusting. But that's what this school wanted to do, and that's what its Pride organization thought was really important out there in Fairfax County, Virginia, or I should say out here, I guess. And parents were aggravated about it, but that's not all, like Billy Mays says. But wait, there's more. The Pride Club also thought that what we really needed was a real, honest-to-God drag queen brunch before one of the Saturday matinees. And so the school district invited 3 drag queen performers who have performed some very racy and raunchy stuff from just over the river in D.C. to come out and perform at the school. This is scheduled in May. Now, so far, neither of those drag queens, according to documents at least that we've received over at the Daily Signal, have been required to take a background check. And that's a problem for a few reasons. The first reason that it's a problem is because at Fairfax and a lot of other districts, as a lot of the listeners to the show will know, require you to take a background check to make sure that you are not, you know, a pedophile or on the sex offender registry if you are going to come onto school property and work with kids. I think that's a really good thing because, you know, kind of don't want sexual assault individuals on the campus working with children. especially if there may not always be teachers' eyes on them at all times. So I'm a little confused as to why these guys, if it's true that they are not required to take any kind of background check, why they're exempt. But also would like to point out that there have been an increasing number of cases over the last couple of years in which a lot of drag queens are on camera gyrating in front of children and straddling children and walking around topless and leading like 2 to 4 year old girls around. And then, of course, there was the drag queen from Wisconsin, which has been arrested like a couple of weeks ago for counts of child pornography as well as child seduction. And there's a lot of really, really, really creepy stuff. And you may say, well, why are you linking it with this? Aren't there a lot of other professions that are involved with this kind of stuff as well? Absolutely. And by the way, any individual, as I have said time and time and time again, who is convicted in a court of law with any kind of sexual abuse towards a child should be hanged in the public square, no questions, period. If you are convicted in a court of law of rape or any kind of sexual abuse, that should be the end, period. However, I will point out that, again, the inherent nature of drag is sexual. So if you are exposing children to something sexual and then something sexual happens as a result, I feel like that could have been easily prevented. I'm just saying, like no one is forcing you to gyrate around kids. No one is forcing you to wear lingerie around children. Just saying, nobody's requiring it. So maybe don't host taxpayer-funded events at the public school's auditorium with student actors dressing in drag, and then maybe don't invite actual sexualized performing drag queens to the school to do a drag queen brunch. I'm just saying that, look, you really want to stick it to conservatives. You really want like all this expression and whatever. Okay, maybe don't do the exact stuff that conservatives are accusing you of doing. Gyrating in lingerie in front of children kind of makes it look like conservatives were right all along. Just saying. That for those out there who are independents or are moderates on either the left or the right, whenever they get online and they read yet another story, and I say yet another because from Parents Defending Education, Nikki Neely is going to be joining us later this week, and all the way over to Tyre Reichek, Libs of TikTok, who are literally just posting the specific verified instances of individuals from the LGBTQ community and individuals from the weird drag queen community who are involved in really, really, really disturbing incidents with children. It kind of sounds like when conservatives a couple of years ago were saying, hey, look, it kind of looks like they're coming for our kids because the targeted age range for LGBTQ stuff is getting lower and lower and lower and lower. And the drag shows, which were originally just kind of a weird niche form of entertainment that adults would go to at casinos and bars, are now these all ages wonderful library events where you too could sit on the lap of a guy in lingerie. Kind of sounds like the conservatives were right. Oh, gee, who could have imagined such a thing? You're not making my job very difficult. And this has led to a lot of people on the left, especially after Title IX's reformation, in which Joe Biden's Secretary of Education has now made it so that boys are legally allowed to waltz in to any bathroom that they choose with no ifs, ands, or buts. No one can say anything or they'll get sued for civil rights violations. It kind of looks like all of the things that the conservatives were saying would happen have happened. So I don't know, just a piece of advice. Maybe if you're running around saying that conservatives are conspiracy theorists about everything, maybe don't validate the conspiracy theory within the first 15 minutes. Just give it a little bit of time. Up next, we're going to be talking about something a little bit more relaxed here this fine, fine Wednesday evening. Don't go anywhere just yet. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast, live from Washington, D.C. on 93 WIBC.
There was a scandal. You lost your law license.
Tony Katz.
They threw you out of the attorney general spot. And this, running for governor, is a revenge tour. True or false?
Get beyond the talking points.
Let's talk about the knock on you. D.C. was too hard. This is way easier. You got the cash. It's no-brainer. Let's go be governor.
With the GOP gubernatorial candidates.
It's not a serious thing. It's a might as well just stay in the game thing.
Stream all the videos at WIBC.com.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You love spring in Indy, so don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Mike did. He called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
The process with Rhino Shield and their crew, they were just very conscientious. We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
Way better than paint, backed by a 25-year warranty. Right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced, and we save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Terry Stacy here. Honey Baked Ham isn't just for the holidays. Stop in for lunch and choose from handcrafted sandwiches, salads, soups, and more. Or take home a heat and serve family meal that comes with a home-style main dish, sides, and rolls. Perfect for a busy weekend night and better than fast food. Have a special event this spring? Let Honey Baked cater with sandwich trays or a VIP buffet with all the extras. Honey Baked on West 96th Street in Indy or Greyhound Pass in Carmel makes it easy to serve something special any day of the year.
Dents happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that can mess up the look of your vehicle. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. Hail baseballs, kids, fender benders, shopping carts, flying cows, angry X's, and anything else that leaves dents. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
At First Financial Bank, we have 4.5% APY on money market accounts and high rates on CDs. It's easy. Just stop into your local First Financial Bank to open your account, and we'll do the rest. What are you waiting for? Start growing your money today. APY equals annual percentage yield. $25,000 minimum deposit required for money market. Offer ends June 1st, 2024. Terms and conditions apply. Visit bank@first.com for details.
First! Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Danny Reinhardt with Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Give us a call for any of your heating and cooling needs. We're here to serve you. 317-745-4526.
Reinhardt is a trusted local independent American Standard air dealer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC, the cast equal parts broadcast and podcast. That's where you can find our stuff on the air and the live streams over at 93 WIBC, Twitter, X, YouTube, and the podcast, you know, all of those wonderful places that you get podcasts. So to wrap up this evening, I saw a story that cracked me up probably so much. It's one of those where you're just going to disturb public because it's that funny. And to kind of get in the mood to this, I've asked Allison to pull up a clip on Parks and Recreation. There was a clip in which Ron Swanson was annoyed when he was shopping at Lowe's because people were trying to help him. Here's what that sounded like.
Hi there. Is there a project you're working on?
I know more than you.
All right.
In Connecticut last week, there was a guy who was so frustrated that no one at Best Buy could help him that he dressed up in khakis and a blue polo and went the next day and like started feeding people false information to confuse customers at Best Buy until they had to throw him out. Allison, have you ever gotten just somebody at some kind of a retail store who had no idea what they were doing?
Yeah, and they very much just kind of look around and be like, well, I can get someone else.
And the person that they get doesn't know anything. Like Home Depot is infamous for this, because Home Depot, you either get like a really knowledgeable guy or you get somebody who doesn't even know what a hammer is. I once walked into a Home Depot. I'm not going to say which location, to protect the guilty here. But I was going to Home Depot on Post Road, and the guy I asked, I was like, look, I need to know where your roofing nails are, because there are no roofing nails over in like the nail and fastener area. So I need to know where your roofing stuff is. Like, just, is there, hoping that there might be something like, where are your roofing stuff, your shingles, that kind of a thing. And I kid you not, he walks me to the other end of the store to electrical, and he says, you can get things for your roof here. And I wanted to jump out of several buildings. I don't know if it was enough for me to dress in an orange vest and come back and start telling people that like we sold grapefruits in aisle 3. But it was beyond frustrating. I mean, have you ever worked retail?
Oh, yeah.
You have? Oh, well, now you have to spill the beans. Where have you suffered through retail?
So it wasn't retail. So it's funny that you mentioned this, because I've had a part-time job at a garden center before, and I was more the front cashier, that type of thing, not the I know everything in the garden center. So I never went back in the garden center for this reason, because I was afraid people would ask me about plants and I would have no idea.
You either get like the really basic questions or just the out of this world and say like like questions that are as basic are, do you guys have any flowers in stock? And like you just have to put your head into your hand. Like, where did you think that you drove up, Midas? Like, get out of here. Or the really insane question, like, if I have an Indiana Northern Pine and I splice it with a petunia from South Carolina, you're like, dude, how did you think that I would know the answer to this question?
I will say I always did get someone who actually knew the answer, though. I will say I did do that.
Okay, all right. So at least you connected someone with the right kind of person. I never worked a retail job. Well, I worked at a coffee shop for a brief stint in college as a barista, or I guess as a dude, a baristo. It's not what it's called, but it should be a broista, maybe. And I never really had any issues there. Although I did have a girl once ask me if we had any dairy-free milk. And I said, do you mean almond milk? And she said, no, dairy-free milk. And I was like, do you mean like lactose-free milk? And she said, no, dairy-free milk. And I couldn't help her, but I did want to throw the milk at her.
You should have just put water in there.
We were out of diet water, though, and I just didn't have the heart to tell her the water was dairy-free. But I did work IT for a while, and I will never forget a moment when someone called down to the office very, very, very calmly and said, hey, I'm up in room 205. And they said, could you come up here? I've got some students. My computer's just having a problem. We really need to get back to class. You could just come up here and take a look at the computer. I'd appreciate it. And so I was sent up to the second floor. And when I got up there, I kid you not, God is my witness. There in Watertown, Wisconsin, on the second floor of Old Main at Maranatha Baptist University, there was smoke pouring out of the computer in the classroom. Actual gray smoke coming out of the computer. And we had to the policy is you have to evacuate the building. So we had to get get the students and the professors and everything out of the building because you get fire in the building. I was just amazed at the calm. There was something wrong with the computer. And so I looked at her, and after we'd cleared it, as we were walking down the stairs, because I had to extinguish the fire and, cut the power and all that stuff. By the way, the computer was still plugged in. No one thought, oh, hey, the computer is smoking. Maybe I should unplug it. But I asked the professor, I said, was the computer smoking when you called down? Because I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, hey, to be fair, maybe it just had an issue and you called me, and then on my way up from the IT office, the computer had burst into flames, right? You got to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, right, Al?
Sure.
She told me that it had been smoking for 3 minutes before she called me, which means that the computer, there was smoke pouring out of the tower computer, and that they stared at it in class for minutes before they had called down to the IT office to calmly inform me that there was something that was wrong with the computer. This is why I swore past that point that I really don't think that I could ever work in like that kind of the service industry today. So I became a teacher, and that kind of suffering was, just mandated by that point. I had students that were, asking which way to write their name on the paper, which was beyond depressing for a number of reasons. But the moral of course, this entire segment is that, yes, indeed, the questions are indeed so bad. From the retail side, the service side, I do kind of want to dress up in khakis and a blue polo and see how long I can get away with not actually working at Best Buy. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think with Best Buy, it's big enough. I think you could go for a couple hours.
You think so?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I think that with how bad the TSA is at the airport, I think I could don the awkwardly fitting blue shirt and navy pants and fake working at the TSA.
It's a little more risky.
Just walk around. A little risky, but it'd be really funny. Like walk around yelling at people for like, you're carrying too many ounces of liquid, and they're like eating a Chick-fil-A.
I'll tell you what, if you do that, I'll wear a red polo and go to Target.
All right, that's a deal. And then after you're done at Target, you can come bail me out of prison for impersonating the Transportation Security Administration. Oh my goodness. Every day I think about these kind of stories. I'm amazed that, by the way, the end result of that story is he was thrown out of Best Buy, and they did call the police. And the police could not find any kind of crime that the guy had committed. So, I mean, he got away with it. They're just like, you can't be here. They've thrown him out. And he wasn't charged with anything, I guess. So it is legal to impersonate a Best Buy employee, I guess, as long as you don't steal from the register. All right, that's about it for today. Thanks for tuning in live from DC. This has been the Tony Kennett Cast here on 93 WIBC.
What people suffering from nasal breathing, snoring,